Dr. Atousa Mahdavi is a holistic expert, speaker, and author. She is a doctor of chiropractic and certified in functional medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, and yoga therapy. She's been in practice, private practice, for the last 25 years, helping people achieve vitality, longevity, and optimal health naturally. Her journey has taken her to India, where she studied with yogis, and she is a certified Hatha Yoga master teacher, and her programs and workshops are highly sought after. When she speaks, hearts are opened and minds are inspired. Atousa, welcome to the summit.
Hello, hello everyone. Hello, Tim. Thank you for having me.
It's so great to have you. So, first off, what was your favorite concert?
Oh my goodness. So I have many, but I would have to choose Depeche Mode.
Oh, tell me more. When high school, like what? Tell me the story.
Actually, I had gone many years ago when I was in college,
Okay.
but I went again with my one of my best friends 2 years ago.
No kidding.
Yes.
What was it
Hollywood
like to
Bowl.
see him as adults again? Was it
Oh
like,
my God.
did it take you
And
back?
it took me back, and it was actually I enjoyed it differently. Not that like I didn't enjoy it then when I was a lot younger, but the words made more sense. The lyrics were, it's as if you've experienced life and now every word in the lyrics makes so much sense, like you could really feel. And he hasn't changed. He's great on this stage, and his voice and everything. I love that group. I love that music.
That is awesome. That's super cool. Yeah, I was a big Depeche Mode fan when I was in high school and middle school, so that resonates with me for sure. And I totally get like when you've had lived experience, the relevance, the impact of the lyrics versus when you're in like middle school or high school, like you're seeing life through a different lens. And not that it's invalid when you're in middle school or high school, it's just a different lens. So that's a cool insight. All right. So you're going to share with our community about daily routine, a missing link in alleviating stress. So take it away.
Okay, wonderful. Yes. So I have had my share of anxiety and stress as a business owner, and being in clinical practice, private practice. I founded. I'm the CEO of Beverly Hills Chiromed, and running a full-on practice with employees and payroll. You had to pay payroll, 5 people, and wearing all these hats turned out to be very stressful. And anxiety was a very real experience, which usually we know that if you're stressed out, and chronic anxiety and stress can lead to insomnia. And so I was also experiencing insomnia, tossing and turning, counting sheep as I was straying at the ceiling. And but soon I discovered my life journey took me to discovery of functional medicine, integrative medicine, but above all, yoga and meditation. And that journey took me to India, where I studied with a yogi and a master that is like one of the best, and lived there for 6 months. And over there, by this time, I had already gotten a certification in integrative medicine and functional medicine, so I was already practicing functional medicine. But to live a life of a yogi and be pushed to your limits suddenly opened up a whole new possibility for me. The fact that you are placed on a routine that you cannot get out of it, and they push you through the grinds. You have to wake up at 4:30 or 5. You have to be in class at 5:30. You have to go through 5 hours of yoga and meditation. And at some point, you're screaming and crying, and you're like, why did I do this to myself? But then, as they push you through it, and of course, loving, in a loving way, but they don't let you stop, and they don't let you get away with breaking the rules. Suddenly, you establish all these new pathways, neuronal pathways, establishing new habits. And suddenly, 3 months into the program, You're like, oh my goodness, where did this go? Where did that? I can wake up this early. I mean, so what I'm trying to say is that when you establish a routine and stick to it for some time, you can change habitual tendencies that you have lived with for years in a matter of 3 months, few months. And consistently and persistently, if you do that, then suddenly you're creating new neuronal pathways at the level of the nervous system, new grooves at the level of the brain and at the level of the mind. And suddenly you are reborn. You recreate yourself as you want to be. And it is possible for everyone. Because just as when you create a software on a computer, and I'm not a technical person, but when you program a new software, and if the technology is correct, and if it's implemented correctly, it will work. It's science. So mind-body sciences, yoga, meditation, breath work, mindfulness, affirmations, visualizations, mantras, they work just like a technology. You're reprogramming your software. But you have to be persistent and consistent. And during stressful times right now with the COVID-19 and people having to do social distancing, people have lost their work, they are in closed spaces with other people, and this brings up a lot of trauma, a lot of unresolved issues. And so people are struggling at many levels, financially, emotionally, mentally, physically, health-wise, etc. And that is a recipe for stress and its adverse effects. So what can we do with our daily routines? So here's the thing, unless you have a daily routine set, you're not going to be programming yourself, because you need to have step-by-step, timely done actions that will over time create new habits, replacing the bad habits. So unless you have a set routine that is in harmony with nature, if we live in harmony with nature, and I'll talk about the circadian rhythm and all of that, then even hormonally speaking, physiologically speaking, your body is cooperating with you, or you are cooperating with your physiology. So I will go over, first of all, let me share with you. I'm not sure if I can share a PowerPoint, but it doesn't matter. I don't have to share the PowerPoint. But so hold on a sec.
Do you see share screen on the bottom of your
Let me check.
controls?
Let's see here. No. Let me check here again. Oh, yes, I do. Yes, okay. Yes, I do. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Okay, so it says host disabled participant screen share, which is okay. I mean, I can still, continue just talking about it. It's not a big deal. They don't have to see it. So let's look at stress. So stress, according to the one of the first researchers in the field of psychology, actually he was a medical doctor, Dr. Hans Seeley. He said that stress has 3 stages: alarm stage, resistance stage, and exhaustion stage. The alarm stage is fine. You see something, you are in a situation, and you have to respond. So then you have your stress hormones go to a certain level so you can take an appropriate action, fight or flight, or resist the stressor, or adapt to the stressor. At this level, you're in the resistance stage, where you adapt or you cope or you resist the stress. What happens is when stress becomes chronic, then you go into exhaustion state, where the cortisol and stress hormones are always at a high level, at a heightened level, which then can actually cause disease process to begin. We know that About 70% of doctor visits are due to stress. They're stress related. Most chronic conditions as a risk factor are due to stress. So when we look at the stress hormones like cortisol, for more specific, but then there is norepinephrine and adrenaline, when they are at the exhaustion state where your body continuously puts out these hormones, you lose your ability to digest as a result of these hormones physiologically. There is a decrease in circulation to the heart. There is decrease in oxygenation. And right now during COVID-19, the last thing we want is decreased circulation to the heart and decrease, a drop in the level of oxygen or hypoxia. And hypoxia is one of the main problems that people with COVID-19 are experiencing. And so we see that physiologically, the stress hormones are going to, it's not just the mind thing, it's also a physiological, a body reaction at the cellular level. But is cortisol always bad? The answer is no. So we know that we have a peak performance level when we talk about highly achieved entrepreneurs, professionals, corporate people, people that are driven, people that are successful. Now, the peak level of performance has to do with optimal levels of adrenaline, cortisol, and norepinephrine. At this level, people function at an optimal. You get your things done, you go through your activities of daily living, your work activities, your family, you attend to your social responsibilities, family responsibilities, etc., without getting exhausted. So you want to make your stress response work for you. And what is the stress? The stress is when demand exceeds your capacity. When the demand of life, whether it's work, social, financial, family, exceeds your capacity. How do we make sure that we use our stress hormones to our advantage to be at our peak performance? Has to do with our circadian rhythm, with our biological clocks, and being in harmony with the rhythms of nature. Now, let's put this into perspective. We have a circadian rhythm that dictates every hour of the day, where are we physiologically speaking. If we do not coordinate our activities to these time zones in a day, 24 hours, we will throw off our physiology, we will throw off our hormonal response that are designed to basically match the demand of the day, the demand of that particular time of the day. So when you don't have a set routine, you go to bed late, you stay up until 2 in the morning because you say that I am more creative during that time. And it may be true, and it probably is true. But you can learn to be creative during the time of the day that your hormones will cooperate with you. So if you wake up late, you've already lost that time zone where in the morning, your cortisol level naturally, because we're designed that way. The higher intelligence of this universe, you want to call it divine, God, whatever you want to call it, the nature, has designed us in such a way that by 6 a.m., our cortisol starts to go up. We need to wake up. Melatonin, which is the hormone for sleep, starts to go down at around 7:30 a.m. Melatonin, the sleep hormone, starts to go up at around 9 p.m. You're getting ready to go to bed. All of your digestive activities, such as elimination, will stop at around 10, 11 p.m. You're basically meant to wake up between 6 to 7 a.m. or even 5 to 7 a.m. granted that you go to bed between 9 to 10 p.m. This is what the nature has meant for us. Now, your deep sleep is between midnight and 2:30 a.m. Every hour of sleep that you have before midnight equals 2 hours of sleep past midnight. And that is why if you make a habit of going to bed earlier, like 10 p.m., for example, you will see that waking up at 6 a.m. is much easier. For some people, they realize that if they go to bed at 10 p.m., they actually can wake up at 5 a.m. no problem. Whereas when they go to bed at 12 midnight, even waking up at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. is difficult for them. And so your level of testosterone also starts to go up at its highest at 9 a.m. And cortisol continues to rise at around this midday, which is meant for you to actually work and be productive. This is a biological system that has been designed to cooperate with our life and livelihood. And so when we forget about the circadian rhythm and the fact that, for example, in the morning, the best time to have a bowel movement, because we're meant to have a bowel movement in the morning, is between 7 to 8:30 a.m. And if someone is having inconsistent bowel movements, a lot of people think that having a bowel movement every 2 or 3 days is actually normal. It is not. You're supposed to have a bowel movement every day, and the best time is during morning. So one of the things that you can do is to, when you wake up and you do your shower and you wash your face, brush your teeth, etc., that you drink 1 or 2 cups of room temperature water with a squeeze of lemon. That starts to basically start the peristalsis, the movement of the digestive system, which also with the fluid and lubrication can enhance or assist you in having the first bowel movement. Again, for those people that are also suffering from this problem, it is not an option to skip breakfast. It could be light, but it should be warm and it should be moist, your breakfast, so that during that time that the nature has designed us to have a bowel movement, that we will empty our bowels in the morning time. So all of these are physiologically designed so we can take advantage of the hormonal, the physiological states during the day in harmony with nature, so we could assign our activities accordingly. So the daily routine, aside from establishing habitual patterns that are healthy, it has everything to do with having a healthy physiology. Because when you do not go to bed when melatonin starts to go up and you stay up, you're exhausting the centers of the brain, especially the pineal gland, that is responsible for secreting melatonin. When you don't wake up when cortisol starts to go up, or you stay up till late, you're fatiguing your adrenal glands, which are responsible for cortisol. So waking up between 6 to 7 a.m., having which also by the way, it's a time that your blood pressure also rises, your cortisol rises. That means you have to wake up, get on with the day, drink 2 cups of room temperature water or 1 with a squeeze of lemon. The best time to have breakfast, according to Ayurveda, is 7 to 8 a.m. It doesn't have to be big if you're not hungry, especially for those of you that do not empty bowels. But you could also do alternate fasting. Eat your first meal between 10 to 11 a.m., then snack at around 1 to 2, a healthy snack, and then have your dinner. The best time for dinner, physiologically, but also according to Ayurveda, is between 5 to 6, 7-ish p.m. Make sure that you empty your bowel, make a habit. There are ways to do that. There's not enough time for me to elaborate. In the morning, the best time for lunch is between 12 noon to 1 p.m. according to Ayurveda, but also the sun is at its highest and the heat of digestion, or Agni or Ushna, is also high. And so this is the best time to digest your heaviest meal, at lunch. Physiologically speaking, your musculoskeletal strength is at its highest level at around 5 p.m. So this is the best time to exercise or do yoga. Then you have your dinner between, if you do exercise at 5, 6 to 7, if not, between 5 to 7, you have your dinner. At 7 p.m., your body is at its peak temperature and high blood pressure. This is not the time to start having a very intense work activity or eat a heavy meal, etc. And you want 3 hours of gap between your last meal and when you go to bed. If you don't, acid reflux would be something that over time can develop. You don't want to immediately go to bed with a full stomach or anything less than 3 hours. And hopefully this, will give you a little bit of a guideline as to how to design your activities of daily living, and hopefully take advantage of the physiology and the hormonal levels to cope with the effects of stress. Otherwise, not living with the physiological levels during the day can stress out your nervous system, your digestive system, your immune system. And physiological stress, in addition to emotional and mental stress, is the recipe for disease, and especially chronic and psychosomatic conditions.
This is outstanding. Atousa, as a musician, I'm picking up everything you're putting down around routines, and in my world, like rhythm, because rhythm is a repeated pattern. And I just wrote this note: living in harmony with your own rhythm is key. And I was like, don't fight the natural rhythm your body's built with. And I just love when you use, I'm a big fan of words like cooperate, cooperate. I'm a word nerd, so language is powerful. And when you said coordinate your activity to your circadian rhythm, I was like, no wonder, you can have this feeling of swimming upstream, mm-hmm. and you're really just swimming against yourself and your own rhythm. And that's not even addressing the world and the, chaos out in the world. This is just you and your body and your relationship with your body. So learning to surf your own rhythms. And the difference in our rhythms of our day, as somebody who works in recovery, there's a rhythm to addiction, to a lifestyle of addiction. Yeah. There's also a rhythm to a lifestyle of recovery. I think there's a rhythm to a lifestyle of stress, and there's also a rhythm to a lifestyle of well-being. And Absolutely. If you look, I'm sure, with all of your years of experience, you have your clients that you can point at. This is what their rhythm looked like before they came into your office.
Yes.
You taught them a new rhythm, and they followed the new rhythm, right? And then their life got better. And I just so appreciate the power of routine, and your story about getting pushed, beyond the limits. Tommy, our speaker yesterday morning, Tommy Rosen, who's a Hatha yoga instructor also, he tells these kind of war stories about going off to the ashram, and it's not what you think. No. It's not some peaceful, beautiful mountaintop moment of sublime relaxation and we're sitting around in lotus position. He's like, it is so the opposite of that. And for many Westerners, it's a real crisis of meaning, what am I doing here? But that's where you get pushed into routine, whether you like it or not.
But the interesting part of it is that exactly within 3 to 3.5 months, everybody was oh my God, a new body, a new mind. What happened to my struggle? Suddenly, one experience was that your body was like clouds, like cotton. It didn't have this heavy, it felt like you're walking on clouds. And it happens almost spontaneously and simultaneously.
Mhm.
And so, and for everybody who followed that, the guidelines. And it's just a matter of sticking to what works
Yep.
and not giving up.
Not
And
giving up.
even if you fail, get up and do it again.
That's right.
Do it
Get
for the
back up and
10th time.
dance. Get back
Yeah,
up and dance.
yeah, exactly.
When you said years of old habit can be broken with months of new habit was so empowering. As an adult, working with people who have years of this, neural connections, right? It's like years of inertia, of repeating the same habits and patterns of thought and behavior.
Mhm.
And a lot of the older people get, the less they think I can do anything about it. The old, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, right?
Mhm.
And that's not true. It's like, yes,
Exactly.
children are more neuroplastic than adults, but it doesn't mean adults aren't neuroplastic. It means we
Absolutely.
can change too. And it's not a one-to-one, like you don't have to
Exactly.
put the same units in one area that you did to get there. You can get back faster than you got there. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
So true. And everybody is on their own journey. So everybody has their own timing, has their own unique tools that they can use. And that's the beauty of Ayurveda, that
Yeah,
it's not a one size fits all.
right.
It's not, a quick fix either, but being patient, persistent, and consistent.
Yeah, those are, I wrote at one point, persistent plus consistent equals change. And
Exactly.
so just so many different ways that you shared today that, again, as a student, like I have a page of notes and I have all these stars next to the highlights for me. And when you said that stress equals demand greater than capacity, like that is so succinct. And I was just like, yes, that's it, and in flow state, and Mihai Csikszentmihalyi's research, like to hit flow state, you've got to have some demand, but you also know that you've got the capacity to meet it. And when you are suddenly, to use a metaphor, surfing waves too big for you,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't surf that wave, then
Exactly.
that's when we switch over into that negative state. So where can all of our community learn more about you online?
So you can go to my website,
Okay,
www.yourvitalitydoctor.com. Yourvitalitydoctor.com, and the doctor is spelled out. And they can go and check out the website, contact us through the website. I'll
wonderful.
be more than happy to talk to anybody who's interested.
Atousa, it was lovely being with you today.
Thank you so much for having me, Tim.
It was
Thank you.
my pleasure. Have a great rest of your day, okay?
Thank you. You too.